flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next order is invocation. Anyone like to give an invocation? Ruth? Thank you. Amen. Okay, roll call. Kim, would you call the roll?
Mayor Gotway,
Here.
Alderman Caslow,
Here.
Alderman Gedemeyer. Here. Alderman Johnson,
Here.
Alderman Ungerbach.
Here.
Alderman Wandling.
Here.
Alderman Whitteman.
Here. All right, consent agenda. Got a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Dave, do you want to make your comments first?
Pardon?
Ask if Dave wants to do anything with number 3 first.
Yeah, Dave, you got an issue with, number 3?
I'll, in waiting time, I'll not say anything.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There none, the consent agenda is approved. Okay, we're gonna move to public comments. I just want to make sure everybody filled out a card to speak before we start. Okay, Kim?
Ruth Earhart. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ruth Earhart. A year and a half
Please.
ago. Oh, sorry.
Okay, you got it. Speak into it a little bit.
Okay. A year and a half ago, I moved from Pennsylvania and I live on Prudent Bay Court in the Inverness subdivision. In that short amount of time, a pattern has been established that totally blows my mind. I think it's a God thing. There is never a time when my neighbors and I are together that we are not thankful for our neighborhood and for each other. So I decided that I was going to bring that to City Hall tonight. Just a couple weeks ago, I approached Kim, asked her for an email address. She got in contact with me the following morning, shared the address with me, and got to talking to me about the concert that was coming up. So I decided Kim thought it was a great concert coming up and that I would check it out. So I did. I got there, I'm standing there, and Kim comes over and approaches me. She shared her time with me when she didn't have to. She could have been having fun, enjoying the music. She gave me some Dardine prayer history, talked to me about the city, different things that had happened, and I was thrilled to hear about it. So tonight, I just want to say thank you, Kim. Nobody wants to be invisible. Everybody wants to be cared for, and Kim cared for me. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike Woldridge. And I live on Benefit Street. I am the president of the Villas of Providence HOA. The reason why I'm here this evening is to make a request and also to kind of talk about the right-of-way restoration that we didn't receive from I-3. The grounds were not very well restored. It was a relatively quick install in spite of the gas line that they very cavalier broke on a Friday night, and took 6 months to reconcrete the street that had to be tore up. There are several locations in our subdivision where the ground has been left bare. There is an area in particular where their boring machine had been sitting, doing its whatever it does, and they completely killed the grass. It's not growing back. It looks like they dumped gas or oil in there. I have filed complaints through Terry. She's been very good about trying to contact the company. I have emailed her. I have gone through your website complaints. I have left a message for the I3 person at the time who was in charge. Never received a call back. Terry has called them several times and we're not getting a response. And it's unacceptable. I don't know how they're doing in other parts of the city, but it's totally unacceptable for our subdivision. And I'm not being particularly picky about what I've sent to Terry in terms of the pictures. Under your code of ordinances, under chapter 530, it talks about one, that the facilities or the right of way is to be returned to its previous conditions. That has not been done. And I'm here to request that the city arrange for this work to be done. And it's not really a whole lot of work per se, but they put up a bond and a surety and whatever else they had to do. And I want that repair done out of their bond. I'm tired of dealing with it. I got better things to do with my life. And I think they need to be sent a message. You know, they were in and out of there in about a week and a half, and I guess they think they don't have any other responsibility. So I would like the city to take the bull by the horn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Joel King.
Joel King, 2 Toussaint Drive. Here to talk about Stump Road, and Alderman Wanling mentioned it about the 3 lanes. Why, he asked, unfortunately, he's not here right now, about 3 lanes going all the way down, and as opposed to, you know, like going 2 lanes in some spots or whatever. But my question is, why is it 3 lanes all the way down? Why do we need 3 lanes, a turn lane into Whispering Pines or Garden Acres? Those subdivisions are not getting any larger. They're done. And the longest wait that we have right now, I'm gonna say maybe 20 seconds that we have to wait to make a left turn. So why do we need 3 lanes? And if the city if the budget might be a little over on this, can easily cut that out and just do a turn lane up at N and a turn lane at Feisey, and then 2 lanes all the way down. It would be much less intrusive for the residents who have been there for decades, as opposed to having to take their property, come on in and get these people that much closer. So and after talking to, I can't forget his name, I forgot his name, the East West Gateway guy, Jason Lang. He even said, yes, you can submit and say, hey, how about if we just cut this back? Will we still get the funds? And you can do that easily enough. And I'm wondering why that was never done. Unless, of course, there's a bigger plan, and maybe you can, I know you guys won't comment on this. If this is gonna be, if everything goes through with the apartments and all that, is this gonna be a reliever road? Is that what your plan is? Because if it isn't, then this road does not need to be 3 lanes, period. I mean, it's just that simple. Does not need to be 3, and it doesn't need to intrude upon our property. Thank you.
My name is Cheryl Bratton. My husband Larry and I live on Cruden Bay Court in Inverness subdivision. Everyone in attendance this evening appreciates the procedural clarity Bill 2324 may provide for aldermanic meetings. Whether the setting is a corporate boardroom, a church sanctuary, a classroom, or a casual HOA gathering, I think we can agree the most effective meeting is one with a clear agenda and poised, knowledgeable, respectful leadership. At the same time, the democratic process depends upon input, and citizens are guaranteed the right to articulate opinions and ideas without fear of retaliation, legal repercussions, and most importantly, censorship. It's a balancing act, certainly, but anarchy should never be an option. While Bill 2324 Section C1 does give the public the ability to ask a direct question from the floor, Robert's rules permit brief responses only without any allowance for follow-up questions. This is where I once again remind the board that for 6 months, Garden Prairie citizens have requested a process through which we can receive frank and honest answers to questions at the same time, in the same place, free of polished political spin. When the board decides to vote on Bill 2324, a small change in Section E, number 1, under decorum should be considered. I'm paraphrasing, but as it currently reads, the presiding officer alone gets to decide who's annoying and who isn't. I'm a frequent flyer at this podium. I'm certain the mayor considers me an annoyance the minute I walk in the door, let alone when I open my mouth. Who's deemed annoying or offensive and who's not is solely a personal judgment, and it's not appropriate for one person to serve as both judge and jury. Simply put, Robert's rules don't account for biases rooted in age, race, religion, gender, education, life experiences, and cultural expectations. The wording of Section E1 should be amended so the presiding officer and board president are required to jointly agree on what constitutes annoying, offensive, or disruptive behaviors in the context of aldermanic meetings. In closing, thank you for remembering nonverbal communication is another variable not addressed in Robert's Rules of Order, and supporting others through the use of applause is a socially acceptable, nonverbal cultural norm in the United States. It's important you keep in mind that some of your constituents may have difficulty recognizing social cues, that facial expressions and tone cannot be mandated, and that the use of American Sign Language is also a protected form of free speech. Thank you.
Dinoff.
Good evening, members of the Board of Aldermen. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, County Public Advocate. And I would like to also comment real briefly on 2324. I'd like to direct your attention to the city of Branson, Missouri, which has great interaction of its residents with elected officials. Their meetings are give and take, asking of questions, and you can watch these all on YouTube. If you go across the country and watch many municipalities and county commissions or county councils, there's a lot of interaction, a lot of openness. I believe that elected officials can gain knowledge, intelligence, and facts from listening to citizens' testimony and comments on the record. So I encourage you to go to the city of Branson and other communities across the country. Now, at the O'Fallon City Council on May 25th, it was brought up, ordinances number 7560 and 7561. Not sure if the bills were read for the traffic mitigation with Tom Commons and Jim Cook. Maybe the president of the Board of Aldermen, Mr. Costello, can remember if it was read or not. But it was definitely tabled at that meeting. And the council tabled both proposed bills 7560 and 7561 until tomorrow, Thursday, June 8th. No other Garden Prairie city residents were there to appeared or testified at the meeting besides the President Pro Tem Costello, the Garden Prairie Board of Aldermen, and myself, which the council then deemed those two bills to be immediately tabled. Public engagement, public involvement, and public testimony of the facts needs to become clear before the O'Fallon City Council. Ordinance 7560 and 7561 That deal is is a grievously lopsided, unbalanced, unfair, and immersively biased. These bills are 95% favor of the developers, and the rest uh, is on the backs of taxpayers. So really, the developers are only kicking in 5% for them to make millions upon millions of profits. These costs are being placed predominantly on the shoulders of taxpayers of the city of O'Fallon, the city of Garden Prairie, and little on Tom Kyman, Jim Cook, and Calico LLC. I am begging citizens, people behind me, go to the city council meeting tomorrow. The bills need to be defeated, and they need to be gone back to the drawing table, gone back to the drawing board, and truly negotiated a fair compromise. Again, the next meeting is tomorrow, June 8th at 7:30 p.m. You have to get your comment card beforehand to the mayor to speak. One more second. To speak before the meeting, Mr. Mayor, be a little more courteous and respectful if I go over 5 seconds. Thank you, board.
Good evening. Will, speaking on Bill 2323. First, I didn't have this in my original attention, but I need to clarify a couple comments that were made earlier. First of all, realtors advocate for personal property rights. That's what we do. We advocate for the rights of our clients and the citizens of our communities. And at no time did we ever say that it was an inconvenience. It was both brought up both times in the last meeting by your inspector and again at this time by your inspector. It is not an inconvenience. That is probably the simplest thing I do in the entire process is attend an inspection. I did attend one such inspection just so I had a clear understanding of what is done. And there are 3 things checked. And it is the outlets, it is the junction box, and it is the fire alarms, smoke alarms. Those are the 3 things. One of our biggest concerns, and a lot of people last month talked about liability and risk to the city. The challenge here is we're giving some buyers a false sense of security that they don't need to do a full inspection. Now, granted, if Garden Prairie wanted to do a full inspection, look at the roof and all the things for $75, we would advocate for that in a second. In a second. Our concern is buyers are thinking that they have an inspection. The words of your inspector himself, do you want a safe home? When you're covering those 3 things, you're not providing that security to those buyers in your community. So we don't want to encourage not doing a full inspection. We encourage much more than just an inspection, radon test, all the different things you can get done. Checking your sewer laterals, all those things, all the things that aren't covered in the municipal inspection. So, and again, if it was about inconvenience, we have a really easy fix for that. Our inspectors all have access to all the homes, and we could grant that. That's not a challenge. You can get it by getting a Supra code. You're then fingerprinted. So you have security to go into those homes. That's simple. That's an easy thing. So if it was truly inconvenience, we would have been talking to you about that. It's really about the rights of the clients, making sure that they're getting proper inspections, and actually probably protecting the city itself from liability. Because if you're inspecting those things and that's the only inspection they have and something goes wrong and that house burns down, the city was the one that did that inspection, right? So that's really more about what it is. Again, protect personal property rights. Even the cost really isn't that big of a deal. We just really want to protect folks. It really has no benefit to us as realtors. We're doing this for the citizens of the community. You talked about a few places that have these inspections, and yes, they have them on rentals, and we're not talking about rentals because we understand renters aren't doing inspections on those houses. So we see a value. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker? Okay, motion to open a public hearing. No one, I don't believe there's anyone here. I recommend extending the public hearing one more time.
We do have a speaker.
We do have a speaker? Okay.
Arnie Dina.
Is
Get
it
up.
already open?
Continue it.
You have to reopen
Okay,
it.
you got a reel? Huh? Yeah,
It's considered. Yeah. I guess.
okay, Arnie, you like to speak on the public hearing? Okay. Right,
Move
So
to
we're gonna-
continue the public hearing to.
are we gonna have everything or should we go 2 minutes? Do you think we'll have it by the next meeting?
Do we need to just go to the
Up
next
to the P and
meeting?
Z.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I know additional
Just-
documentations.
I'd recommend going to the next meeting in case we do
Yeah.
have everything.
Okay. all right,
Not gonna hurt them.
Yeah.
So to continue to the next.
continue it to the next meeting.
Second.
You had a second? All in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? Here none, we'll continue the public hearing till the second meeting. Okay, new business.
Move to read Bill 2323 for the first time.
Get a motion to read Bill 2323 for the first time?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Here none. James, will you read Bill 2323 for the first time?
Sure, Bill 2323, an ordinance of the city of Garden Prairie, Missouri, amending the section 525.010 and subsection A of subsection 525.020 of the municipal code of the city of Garden Prairie pertaining to occupancy inspections.
Discussion or debate?
I will just point out because it was brought up by a speaker regarding what staff has stated on this matter. I feel quite frankly, it's disingenuous to stand up here and say this week, which I think was very different from what was said at the previous meeting regarding the reason for opposing these actions. Board's purview to do whatever they choose, but the state that one hand that we think we're lulling people into a false sense of security by doing it because we're not doing it enough, then say, well, it is important to do for renters because they don't do inspections. I think we've already provided to you at the previous meeting that almost a third of all of the inspections that are done fail. So even having done these expensive, nice ones that Realtors Association says you should do, Jeff comes in, a third of them still fail. There is clearly something not happening with these expensive Cadillac inspections that are supposedly being done and realtors are selling homes. I mean, I think in deference to the staff who does them every day, I think it's just important to recognize some of the points that Jeff had brought up. Also, the fact that I heard last time that this is an inconvenience from the realtors because you can't close unless you've met all the inspections required by the city. That this is held up, or this could hold up, closing on bank loans that the banks, because their finance require these, even if these are something that the owners cannot waive because they're required by the city, and therefore as for these loans, these are required for closing. And that this is an inconvenience. These are all things that were brought up at the last meeting. Suddenly it's Jeff only checks 3 things and the city somehow had a liability for not doing a more thorough inspection. I gave you all a list of an entire page list of what's checked by the staff. I know that Jeff does a good job. Again, 33% of all of these fail on their first go round. Clearly something's being missed and something's being caught by our staff, which is ensuring the safety and well-being of the citizens of Garden Prairie. I don't know that people who live in a rental property deserve to have a safety inspection. People who own their own house can choose to live in an unsafe house, but I think that Jeff has made valid points. I think some of the comments today by the realtors, quite frankly, was completely the opposite of what was said during the last meeting. And I wanted to make sure that that was clear. Staff will go forward with whatever the board chooses as far as the policy. But I think it is important to note what was stated last meeting versus what is stated this meeting. I'd be happy to point you back to my notes from the last meeting where those comments were made. So with that, I'll yield to the board.
That being said, I've also done some talking to different realtors and asking different buyers too. As I had brought up about them waiving full inspection of a home and all that. A lot of that isn't being waived now, but the inspection is being done and only can be disqualify the purchase if it's something major. So a lot of the minor things, the people are still getting an inspection, but they're signing off on these things that it has to be something major in order for them to get out of buying this home. That being said, it goes back to they're gonna have issues there that we may catch or more than likely catch that they don't have to fix. There, the only issue I have with us doing the inspections, the only complaint that I've heard from residents, which every time I've been out in the area, and I was up here the last concert, I was even asking people about it, is the cost. And that's why I brought up the cost before. We pay Jeff a wage anyway. It's not a big money making for us. As a board member, I would entertain something to reduce the cost or eliminate the cost. But I still in favor of the inspection because I don't want a bunch of stuff out there that people get away with.
I will say I like the idea of a zero cost. I thought it was good the way Mike presented it, that people coming in, kind of a welcome to Darting Prairie and free inspection.
Are you wanting the?
Aldermen here. I would also support reducing or eliminating the cost as well. This is Alderman Whitteman. I don't know if you guys are speaking right now, but once I went on video, I lost comms. So I am not hearing anything at this point.
Hear us now, Keith?
That's different. Could be different. Cost. I don't want to. And cost and also had mentioned it. Oh, hey, make it voluntary. And like, hey, we'll do it for you. Or is it, well, if we eliminate the cost, I'm still good with the inspection, but just eliminate the cost. Do you need time to think about it? Sit it.
I
for 2
think
weeks.
this is something we ought to bring up for discussion down the line. But I'm looking for an amendment.
The fee is in the ordinance, so would require. It's a different section.
There's no pricing in this bill at all.
That's from the inspection and permit requirement, which is separate from what charged for.
What our city attorney is saying is that, yeah, the fee schedules in a different section of the ordinance have to, you know, the code, we'd have to have a different, but we couldn't just amend this.
And my separate question would be, because I don't need to put you on the spot since we just threw that out there, is do you want 2 weeks to think about? Is it that I'm okay with the inspection, I just don't want the fee? In which case we just table this and pick it up in 2 weeks. Or we pick it up with a new bill.
We got a motion.
One that can't hear me, one that can't hear me because
He can hear, he's back, he said.
and I already know that Alderman Johnson said one. And I guess it's a general question, is it the permit and the occupancy permit that's the issue or the fee that's the issue?
The fee's not in this bill, so
Yeah, but if
I-
it's the fees on that.
that's what I'm just saying, we bring it up for further discussion.
Yeah,
we like an ordinance prepared for the next meeting.
Right.
Staff can
Right.
I would definitely support an ordinance for the next meeting to that cost to zero.
So we would want to make a motion to table this.
But I think we could do this independently. Or
There's no-
this one then,
No inspection if you could.
Well, there's no-
to make it an elective, if someone requests one, it'd make it service the city.
Yeah, so but that's my question.
Okay, so
View is,
Yeah.
it sounds like one is in support of the,
do we want to vote on this one and then rewrite one? Or do we want to table this and rewrite this one?
let's say we table it and deal with it in one ordinance with give Keith and at least where I know Alderman Johnson.
Okay.
just keep the one, but get rid of the fee.
I'll entertain a motion to table Bill 2323.
But I would make a motion to go ahead with this. So, what are we on the first or second reading?
On the first reading.
Second
So
reading.
We're gonna be doing a second.
Motion to table.
Did somebody make it? This is the question.
I did.
Okay, well, I'm just.
Then if
So there's a motion.
if we
Okay,
did,
so we have a motion to table it
Needs a second.
for the second reconsider till second
Move to
reading
table.
next week. Move to table.
Until the next week.
Do I have a second? Table,
Second.
okay? All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay? Any opposed? One nay? Okay.
Go.
All right.
Everybody in the.
2323 is tabled until next meeting. Okay, I have a motion to rebuild 2324 for the first time.
Move to rebuild
Okay.
2320. Actually,
yeah, I moved to table Bill 2324 until the next meeting. Pursuant to what I said during the comments, I think that we need a little more time to mull this over.
Okay,
And I do anticipate some amendments, so amend
Okay.
next.
we have a motion to table Bill 2324 to consider amendments. Got second by Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, any opposed? Here none, we'll table Bill 2324 till the next meeting. Okay, moving on to old business.
Are you tabling this one again too?
So we have. Okay. So for Bill 2309, we do have the.
We do have a revised agreement for this voluntary annexation. It's signed by the owners. It's ready to go. I think you should have had copies of it.
It's the, what was distributed, but that. We don't have
This
the
is-
red line version of it.
This is a piece of property on Pisey Road. It's just east on Pisey. The guys operated a small engine repair.
Was right next to
It was
PDS.
first read before, so we will need an amendment, or we will need a.
Revised.
Amendment was provided to you.
So.
So first, we're gonna, a motion to adopt the revised or the amended bill,
Move to adopt.
the amended bill?
I would say move to amend the bill, to include agreement as presented.
Okay, we'll move to adopt the bill with the agreement as presented.
Second. So moves.
So move. Second
Second.
by Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There none, we'll,
Now I need to
Move.
move for a second reading.
for second reading of the amended bill. Well, do we,
That's right.
okay, as amendment, as the bill as amendment.
Move to read Bill 2309 as amended.
Second.
Okay, got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Here none. James, will you read Bill 2309 for the second time as amended?
Sure. Bill 2309 as amended, an ordinance of the city of Dayton Prairie, Missouri, annexing certain adjacent properties generally located at 1436 Spicy Road into the city and authorizing the city administrator to negotiate and execute an annexation agreement with Jason L. Howerton and Molly A. Howerton.
Any discussion or debate?
Move for a roll call vote.
Got a motion for a roll call vote by Justin. I need entertain a second.
Second.
Second by Mark. Kim, would you call the roll?
Alderman Caslow.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Underbach.
Aye.
Alderman Wendling.
Aye.
Alderman Whitman.
Aye.
You gotta come on.
You gotta come on video, Keith. All right, got it.
Alderman Gettlemeyer.
Aye.
Ordinance 2251.
Okay, I declare Bill 2309 as ordinance 2251. Okay,
This is the one. Okay. Move to postpone Bill 2318 to the second meeting.
second meeting. Okay, got a motion to postpone Bill 2318
Second.
to the next meeting. Got a second by Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Here none, we're gonna table Bill 2318. Well, okay, we're table Bill 2318 till the next meeting. They have communication, city attorney,
I have nothing, Mayor.
city engineer,
Good from the workshop.
okay? City administrator.
The only thing I do have, which I apologize, I think I left it back in my office before the alderman leave. I do have 2 cards I'd like each of you to sign. One, I believe, is a sympathy card, the other one's a birthday card for a resident turning 90. So, and then I also have something I will send out to everyone, won't belabor it here, but we do have some upcoming events that our recreation and outreach coordinator has requested if there is members of the board or anyone who would like to assist in either in our upcoming bingo. I'll send that information out,
There's a
but we have
picture
some
of
volunteer opportunities coming up here.
Got a paper in everybody's mailbox.
He did put it in your mailbox? Okay, so you'll have it in your mailbox.
Your mailbox.
And I'll also send it out to out the communications to our mailing list too. So the first Friday of the month is bingo. So I know she's looking for a celebrity bingo caller next month. So.
The barbecue. I'm not ice cream person.
That's right. And someone to help barbecue and hand out ice cream. So, but that's all.
Residents are welcome to volunteer.
Free food and ice cream in it for you.
Okay. Alderman.
No sitting.
Got everything out? Okay,
Well, I don't know if Keith can speak, but I'll speak for him this time, because he is consistently every meeting made a point to thank everybody for coming out and participating, for making your voices heard and participating in with the city. We can't do this without you. We do this for you. So it is a huge honor for us sitting up here And I ask you, keep it up, continue, and welcome your voices.
Thank you, Alderman Coslow. Out of fear of losing connection again, I'm being reserved with my my time speaking and going on video. So thank you.
Just say, leave, go to. I know I've talked to three aldermen signed up, Mike, Pascal, Keith, and Laura. You know, Keith is staying out, some army buddies and stuff, but will be taking, the city car.
Marine Corps buddies.
Oh, man. It's called the Marines Army. Thank you, Keith. Just.
Typical
Sorry. Yeah, you're done.
Sorry.
Point of order.
It's. Didn't mean that offensive, in any offense at all, okay?
No, no,
Uh,
it's fun. It's fun. Happens all the time.
Actually, Navy and, people say when I've got Army, but hopefully in the Marines, you do have some Army, but and
Of course.
in all forces. Anyway, so I will be leaving shortly after 7 o'clock from City Hall, taking a city vehicle. If you guys, save costs, you're welcome to ride. I think that's about all I have for today.
Move to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor? Okay.
Aye.
Board of Aldermen meeting is adjourned. Hey, Dan.
11:30.
Hey.